So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Reverend Janet Ellis, and I know you're wondering.
No, I just want to touch.
You just want to touch? Okay. Y'all can line up after service. Make sure your hands are clean. So the talk today is attitude of gratitude. And so I just adored, I used to go to this women's group in Fort Worth, and this beautiful older woman, older than me, came one day and she spoke. And it was about her journey of dealing with cancer. And she used her hats to describe. So what I'd like to do today is to use my hats to describe my life. Okay, here we go. Don't mind the hair afterwards because it's not going to matter. All right. Can you hear me? Because I can't see. It's 1986. I walked out of the door and away from my husband, and I ran home to my mother. Please, please, can I come live with you? God knows she didn't want me, but I'm her daughter, so she said yes. She said, the only way you can is if you go to church. And I said, I'll do anything for room and board. So I started at Unity and have been there ever since. And it was nice. Mom was my best friend. We got along really well together. She worked a lot. She was a realtor, so she was gone most of the time. I had the house to myself. However, our connection was strong, and it was powerful. And we were both going to the church together, and we were in different groups together, and so it was even helping us more. We were really connecting. And so it worked out. And as far as I was concerned, she'd been married twice and divorced twice. I've been married once and divorced once. And I was never going to marry again. Because I've been told I'm a lot like my mom. And so I decided she and I are going to live together, grow old together. We're going to take care of each other. And it's going to be awesome, right? So for 5 years, it got a little bit better. Little brooch on the hat there. 5 years. I walk into Unity the first 6 months. I'm in the back on a chair. My head's up against the wall, and I'm sobbing like a baby. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was going to happen next. I just kept showing up. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even know what Unity was about, and I didn't really care. Again, room and board. So I'd show up and do what they'd say to do. But I started lightening up, and I started hearing what was being said. So it was a good thing. So for 5 years, I became hungry, and I longed for everything they gave me. I mean, classes, workshops, speakers, anything I could get my hands on and be involved with, that was what I was about. And it worked. It started to wake me up, you know? So then, I'm back here again. 1991. April of 1991, my mother just died. I thought we were going to be together forever, and sadly, she was diagnosed with cancer, and 9 months later, she was gone. So I lost my home, I lost my best friend, and I lost my mother, and I'm on my own for the very first time. Now, I'm 31, and I know that sounds old, but it don't matter how old you are when you lose your mother and you're on your own for the very first time. So I moved into this apartment, and it was kind of cool. I remember sitting there one night thinking I could run around naked and nobody would know. But then there was times I was sitting there so lonely I couldn't stand it, you know? And I really shut myself out from the rest of the world because nothing mattered. I didn't know what the hell, sorry, the heck I was going to do, but I knew that something had to give. Now, I'm going to tell you this piece right here because it was something that I'll never forget. I had this one friend, and she irritated the snot out of me. And she was involved at a small theater in Mansfield, and she was running the stage of a show that was coming up. And she called me and said, Janet, you need to get out of the house. You need to come here and be with us. You can work behind the stage. You can do whatever you need to do, but come be with us. And I said no, and I'd hang up. And then I'd look around, and I had the drapes closed, and it was dark, and I was just kind of sitting there going like, So about the fifth call, I was so irritated with her, I finally said yes to shut her up. And I went. And I showed up, and I knew a little soft shoe, and I sang a song, and I got 3 parts in the play. So it was good. I was still depressed. Mom was still gone. Now, one of the things that I did, we had an estate sale, and we sold Mom's house, and we divided everything we wanted to among the siblings. But there was this one thing. I volunteered at the women's shelter, and I was at the location where the women were, where you didn't know where the women were. And I took my mom's 5 finest dresses that she had, and I donated it to them because I thought it'd be so wonderful if these women could dress up at some point and use these dresses. So anyway, one thing that I have to say about this friend, she was absolutely right. Rehearsal was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was exhausted. And it came dress rehearsal night. There's 30 women in one room, mirrors around, all around. Oh, I didn't tell you what the show was. The best little whorehouse in Texas.
You had 3 parts.
I had 3 parts. Oh! I don't know where she went, but that's not where I did. I was in the choir. I was a reporter, and I was a whore. Man alive. So anyway, rehearsal was intense. It went on and on and on and on, and it was perfect. But the night we're doing dress rehearsal, I'm in there putting on the makeup for the last part. And I'm doing the blush, and I'm doing all this, and I'm looking in the mirror, and out of the corner of my eye, I look over here, and this lady has my mother's dress on. And over here, this lady has my mother's other dress on. And over here, this lady has my mother's other dress on. All 5 of them are there. And so I'm in shock. I don't know these women from anybody. And I turned around and said, where'd the dresses come from? Well, I don't know, some thrift store in Fort Worth. Fort Worth. It'd gone from the women's shelter to some shop in Fort Worth, and it shows up. So I got to dance with my mom one last time. And my mom loved theater. She was theater was her deal in college, so it's just profound. So I remember at one point, my brother came to see the show, and I ran out, and I said, now look at this next scene, man. Tell me if you don't recognize something. And afterwards, he said, were those Mom's dresses? I said, they were. So it was pretty fascinating. But I have to say, even with a little bit of that in my life, it's easy to say that I would go from here doing okay, coasting, right? Wake up, go to work, come home, cry. Wake up, go to work, come home, cry. I mean, it was an ongoing, and then there were some days that were harder than others. I'm back. I'll tell you what, this last April was the anniversary date of my mom's death. And May 6th is her birthday. And then there's Mother's Day. And it's more than I can handle, and God love my husband. I'm not nice when I'm sad. So there's this frustration of there's not a thing I can do, so I can either, I wish there was something that could knock me out for 2 months and then wake me up and I'd be all exercised and ready to go again, but there's not. And so at that time as well, this year, I have an aunt that I called my utter mother because she stepped in when my mom died. And she died last month. And so to say the grief hasn't been intense, I'd be lying. So it's a process, and I know it's a process, and I know it's things that we have to go through, but good Lord, I'm ready for a break. So as you know in life, you could go back and forth in these, and I still do. The beauty of it is it doesn't happen as often, and it doesn't last as long, right? So let's move on. So, we're still in 1991. Got the feather in the bag. 1991, my mom's been gone for 3 months. Had a friend of my mom's come to me after we had her service and all was done, and she said, I want you to know that your mom told me she made a deal with God. And I went, okay. I have 3 siblings. They're all married. They have family. But I was the only one that didn't. And so she said, I told God I'd go if he wants me to go, but by golly, they better bring somebody in here to take care of this girl. So it's been 4 years since I've dated, because I was never going to marry again, remember? Yeah. So 3 months after my mom died, I was working at this company, and I had gotten transferred from one department to the other, and I'm in my cubicle putting up my Betty Boop paraphernalia, because that's my girl. And this guy walks by, and he says, Betty. And I went, no, Janet. And here we are 33 years later. So, to say it wasn't amazing is to put it lightly. Now, there were challenges. I mean, I still was grieving the loss of Mom, being on my own, and there was a part of me that really wanted to stay on my own because I was finally getting that I could be on my own. And women, I don't know if you know, but that's huge, right? Because most of us have been, raised by the family, get married, immediately go into marriage, and you're never alone until something happens, whether you divorce or lose somebody or whatever. So it was huge for me that this one guy I dated at one time was so thrilled and impressed that I knew how to change the oil in my car. I mean, come on. One other guy, I knew he was just thrilled that I could put gas in my own car. I'm going, good Lord, what's this world coming to? So anyway, I lost track. I'm sorry. Let me pull it back up here. I need to know which hat I'm on. Okay, 3rd hat, constant intent. Okay, 4th hat, continuous switching motion feeling. Oh, okay. So life was good. It really was good. And this is what I loved. I was working with the youth, the teenagers, YOU, Youth of Unity. For 18 years, I was one of the youth sponsors. But when my husband and I first started dating, he came to me and he said, when are you coming? When can I come to your church? And I said, you can't. Because if you do, and something happens to us and it doesn't, you're not getting my church. Right? That's my church. Right? So I'm in the other building with the youth group, and I come walking out one day, and there he stood outside the sanctuary. Oh, I was pissed. Is that crazy? He went to church. He wanted to go to my church, and I'm mad because he's at my church. But I got over it pretty quick, and he has been going there ever since, so it's been good. So this is when I get to a point, I have done all this work. All this work. I mean, as I said, workshops, read every book of Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, anybody, Louise Hay, oh my Lord. I mean, everybody. And just so full of knowledge. So full of knowledge, right? And that's when I looked real good. I'm Minnie Pearl. I still have the price tag on here. Okay. I looked real good, right? I mean, on the outside, I could tell you anything you needed to know about unity. I'm spiritual now. I'm so spiritual. I mean, I'm good. You asked me a question. Yeah, I've been here 6, 7 years, 8 years now. What the heck? But on the inside, not so good. I look good, always looked good, dressed nice, showed up when I was supposed to. But the insides were not connecting with the outside. And it was that awareness and what they talk about so much about the head and the heart coming and connecting. It's that 18-inch drop, which is the hardest. And I knew that in my head, but it didn't matter. My heart was still so covered in grief and depression, not having dealt with the trauma I had as a kid, so I looked real good on the outside. You understand? Yeah. So at this point came therapy. Therapy. Lots of therapy. I don't know how they wear this thing. I mean, you can't see a thing in it. So when I finally did start working on myself, truly working on myself, it was intense. It was hard. I went back and forth again to this, and I especially spent a lot of time in this one because part of me knew in my head that I was good. I knew I was good. God loved me. I knew all that stuff, but I wasn't feeling an inch of it. My mother was gone by God. She's been gone 10 years now, and I don't give a hoot what you tell me. I'm still in a lot of pain. So it took a lot of workshops. It took a lot of therapy, and it came to a point where I had to set the intention that I'm going to heal me, that I really want to become the person I want to be, and that I have to get to a point that I want to be able to take a look at those pieces of me that weren't pretty. And it was hell, y'all. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. So it was difficult. It was really difficult. And at the time, it was a part... I'm not good at sharing grief, and I'm not sure well, yeah, I do know why. I mean, you know, childhood, some things you witness, you know, to keep your mouth shut, hide, and do whatever. You don't show emotion, especially when I cry. And I saw this commercial the other day. Women are so strong, they will hide and cry and get it out completely and show up and act like nothing was going on. That's me. My car's my favorite spot. Or my closet. I got a big closet. I'll go in there and muffle my cries. God love my husband. The one thing about it is when I'm wailing on the side of the highway, I call him. Please tell me everything's going to be okay. Honey, you're fine. Are you driving? No. That's good. Make sure you're pulled over and breathe. Okay. And I'd sit there for a good 30, 45 minutes until I had to get it, the wailing. Oh my, that poor car. The wailing inside that car. Right? And life goes on. Right? So, as I process, and I continue to process, things start looking prettier. Things start looking good. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm starting to realize that I really am worthy, that I really am loved by a God of my understanding, that essence and energy inside of me. I am one with it. I'm learning how to not separate it. I still don't understand when I'm praying to God how I'm praying to myself. Or I pray to God, so I'm now outside, right? I've just took him outside of me. Okay, bring it back. I'm not sure how I understand that yet, but I do know that there's an essence of energy within me that is connected and hears me. And I hear it, and that's the beauty of it. Today I can hear that. And if you'd asked me that 20 years ago, I'd have laughed at you. But today it's better. And my longing, when I really started doing workshops and I really started working on me and I wanted to find out what I am here to do. We're all here to do something, and I know most of us don't feel like it, but we have a purpose. And the first thing I did was I went to a workshop, got a scholarship for it, spent 3 days with this woman, and it changed my life. And I finally decided to go to California and get certified and licensed to teach this workshop. And it's called The Path, Creating Mission and Vision for Work and Life. You walk away with knowing what your purpose is, and you learn the passion of that purpose so that you can move forward and share it with others and help them heal. I'm about waking people up. I know I can't wake them up, but I can share the information that hopefully will bring them to a point where they can wake themselves up, right? Because we know people out there that ain't gonna ever wake up, sadly. Half the world or more out there don't know that they don't know that they don't know, right? And so if you're being who you say you are and you're showing up and you're using that, if I'm working the work I talk about, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, to say the least, because I love this hat so much, I go back here quite often. I look good on the outside. Oh, I could tell you anything you want to know. You got a question, ask me. I'm so smart. I'm so spiritual. This is it, man. Some days I'm cocky as heck, and then there are days that I connect in a way that I know I'm connected. Yes. And we got to remember that, because again, we got to work the work. Stop walking the talk and work the work, right? So as we proceed and go on, it's now been, well, I've been involved spiritually since 1986, however long that is, 40-something years. Good God, I'm old. But it's been great. And to have a partner that's willing to go along with it. Now, the day that it comes that I present myself to my husband at home the way I present myself to you will be a freaking miracle. Yeah, he's nodding his head. Meaning that because it's so safe there, and because he loves me as much as he does, sometimes I get a little cocky. A little cocky. But I mean well. In my heart, I adore this man, and yet I still have this mouth on me. I've been protecting myself for a very long time. And so it's a constant process. I'm in therapy again. Lena, go, would you please go to therapy? Or whatever I got to do to calm that down, because there's a part of me that is still wounded. There's a part of me that still needs help. And I'm finally to a point that I honestly mean I want to heal those wounds that are keeping me from being who I truly am. And that's the process. And it's an ongoing process. And by God, I want to do it before I die. Because I don't know if there's, coming back and doing it over again or whatever. But I certainly don't want to do some of these things I've done. So finally, this hat was special made for me. And it's all about staying in the faith. Yeah. So being in the faith and understanding that everything I have been taught, everything I have learned, everything that I've processed that I truly understand for me is real. And it is mine to believe and to take and work with. So faith is the biggest one. And I love, man, when I see people with the strength of faith that they have, it just blows my mind, and I want it. I crave it. I want to know how you learned it, how you stay there, no matter what's going on at the time. There's this full faith and understanding and belief that you are taken care of and you are loved, no matter what is going on in front of you. And I want to be there. I always want to be there. Yes. So for me right now, where I am, it's all about having that faith and remembering it when I'm in those times of grief and sadness, or when I get in my head. Boy, y'all, somebody's in there, you'd go crazy. I'm amazed I can even handle it sometimes. But it's very important to understand that it's your responsibility. Nobody else can do it for you. So when you're willing and you're to a point where you truly want to get the whole thing about what we've been taught through unity, it's time for you to set that intention and say you will and commit to it. And I'm really happy that I'm there now, because, oh my Lord, it's been a long journey. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I want to thank you all for listening to my story. And I appreciate you all very much. Thank you.